Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ishita. Are you able to see all the panelists?
Yes, sir.
There are 8 of us.
Eight,
Sorry, there are five of
five.
us.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
5.
Right. Ishita, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Sir, my name is Ishita Pandey. I was born in Benares and I was brought up in Lucknow. I finished my schooling from City Montessori School in Lucknow. Then I went on to do my graduation in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Manipal Institute of Technology in Karnataka. After graduating, I took up a job in ZS Associates as a decision analytics associate. Our main job was consulting for various companies, mostly pharmaceutical. After a short period of 7 months at the company, I decided to sit for UPSC, CSE, and that's been my journey so far.
So, after giving up your first job, you have not worked anywhere else?
No, sir.
Okay. And your father is in the railway board?
Yes, sir, he was. Right now, he's been transferred as General Manager, North Frontier Railway Construction.
Very good. Very good. So, you must be discussing railways with your father, and you must be aware of what is happening in railways.
Yes, sir. Often we discuss about the various things happening in the railways.
Can you tell me what are the main problems of railways and sort of financially, what is the problem?
Sir, I think financially the problem is the cross subsidizing that we have from freight and passenger traffic. So we are taking the money that we are getting out of the uh, dedicated freight corridors and the freight movement to subsidize passenger travel. So that is one of the issues. That's why we are not able to get profitability in that sector.
Okay, but what are the consequences on freight?
Sir, so right now, apart from the dedicated freight corridor that is going on, most of the places the networks are saturated. So it slows down those freight trains and it causes longer time to deliver those. So it's a economic cost. Also, if fruits and vegetables are uh, carried in those, then it is also a preserving cost of those.
Okay, and you may be aware that railway has changed their recruitment policy, and now they have gone in for IRMS.
Yes, sir.
What are your views on this?
Sir, I think it is a good decision. It's in the right step to avoid any departmentalism that was maybe prevalent and to increase the organizational harmony so that the complementary and contradictory roles of all of these services are better working for the organization.
No, but what about the engineering departments? How will you,
So,
if you recruit through civil services exam, how will you get the engineers?
so there is a bridge course for that. They will be taught according to their capabilities. Uh, Maybe in the long term, we'll also have to look at lateral hiring for expertise. But right now, as this is the first batch, they are planning to go ahead and just see how the bridge courses work out.
Okay. So you think it's a happy development, changing
Yes, sir.
over to IRMS? Departmentalism would be curbed by this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me move to an entirely different subject. You are a lady. What are your views on the medical termination of pregnancy?
So right now, with the new guidelines that the new act we have, I think it has a lot of scope. It is wider than any other country. So it takes into account all the situations, and I think it is a right step. So we'll have to also keep an eye on uh, illegal abortions that might happen. But if we keep that in check, I think it's a good step.
What is a good step? Permitting abortion or not permitting abortion? Because
Uh,
in some cases, court has denied when the fetus was more than 26 weeks, they have denied.
Sir, it is circumstantial depending on what is the progress of the pregnancy and if it is a threat to the mother and the fetus.
No,
So,
that you are telling me what the position existing as on date is. I am asking you your views. Is it all right, or you want to change this? Because there are some arguments against this also, particularly made by ladies.
sir, as we see that there are objections to all policies, so it will have to it will have to grow as our consciousness grows. But I think as of now, it is a good step.
Okay, we'll talk about it during your feedback. Now let me pass you on to our next panelist, Mr. Ajay Chauhan. He is a retired Indian Revenue Service officer.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Ishita.
Good morning, sir.
How do you do?
Sir, I'm well. I hope you're well too.
Thank you. Ishita, you come from UP,
Yes, sir.
and incidentally, I also come from UP, and I take pride to be person from UP, and UP has been making a tall claims that we are going to contribute to $1 trillion economy to the national kitty of $5 trillion economy by 2027. Is it a tall claim, or you think it's it's realistically possible to attain this kind of Herculean task by 2027?
Sir, it is sir, so we are taking adequate steps to achieve this, starting from growing our IT sector in UP, with the first one coming up, IT hub coming up, another IT hub coming up in Lucknow, and other tourism sector contributing to it. We are working towards that as well. So all of these factors, I think, will help us achieve that goal. Although there are still some
Can
bottlenecks
you be
that
more
we'll have to
specific,
work out.
Ishita, because these are only indicators, some economic indicators to make your establish your claim that yes, we can do it.
So as we have seen that we have grown our economic, like right now, I think the GSDP contribution of UP has ended up in the second spot, if I'm not wrong.
And what is
We
the
just
GDP growth? What is the GDP growth rate of UP?
Sir, I think it's around 10%.
No, you are nowhere near. It's 16%.
Okay, sir. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so give me the indicators so that you can establish your claim that the UP can do it.
Sir, if we see in past 5 years only, we have grown a lot. So going by that also, we need at least 2.5% increase in GDP in the next maybe 5 years. So I think it will be possible seeing the growth in the last 10, 15 years that we have seen.
Okay, so you did not answer what I was asking, 2027. So you are taking about 10 years. That's where you think you will be able to attain $1 trillion US dollars?
No, sir. I meant that seeing the past 10 years, we can say that maybe in the next 7 years, we'll be able to achieve what we are planning to do.
7 years. Okay, so are you aware of this rule of 70, which is used in economics?
So rule of
70.
No, sir. I'm sorry. I
That
don't
would
know
that would have been that would have given you an idea as to whether UP can attain that kind of goal, because that's how you determine your GDP growth rate. How does it get doubled? So that's the formula of Rule 70. I'll explain to you once we're done with the formal interview. UP has been in fashion coming out with changes in the name of the cities. The latest one is Ghaziabad in Q. What is the proposal from the local authorities for Ghaziabad?
Sir, I'm not aware. I'm sorry about that.
All right. But why is this fashion? The Supreme Court has commented on renaming of the cities that, look, you need to do development work rather than changing the name of the cities. So what's your take on the subject?
Sir, most of the demands for the change of cities come from the people themselves for cultural or better connection to the roots. So those demands are mostly entertained by the administration. Although we need to be conscious about these changes because they are a huge burden on the exchequer because they uh, invite a lot of costs.
No, it just
As
involves
this,
about 300 crores per renaming of a city.
sir, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said it costs around 300 crores per city.
Yes, sir.
Renaming of
As
a city costs
yeah,
about
we
300
saw that
crores. So,
in Prayagraj. Yes, sir.
so what is your final opinion? Are you in for it or against it?
Sir, it should be rationalized, but again, the cultural roots have to be valued because that is our strength as a country.
Okay, Ishita, I'm going to make a statement and I want you to react on this. Anything you get for free, you become a product by itself.
Okay. Sir, I think this means that when you accept the free stuff that you get, you somehow become liable to the person who's giving you that free commodity.
That's an
So,
explanation. Give me an
yes,
example.
sir, as we see it in terms of the inconspicuous expenditure on freebies as an election populist measure. So in that, we see that the people who are getting the freebies, they are actually inclined to vote to a particular party who's giving them, which threatens the democracy. So here,
How do they become product?
sir, because they are sort of selling it for the like they are doing the free advertising for the political parties.
All right, okay. I will take it what you have said. Uh, the last question coming on to you. Recently, the government had tabled the white paper in the parliament. What do you understand by white paper?
Sir, a white paper is any documents that gives you facts and information about a certain thing. As in this case, they are trying to tell about the growth in the economy and compare it to previous regimes.
Is it subjected to vote?
Uh, Sir, I don't think so, but I'm not very sure of this.
Okay, and if I had to ask you, Ishita, how would you differentiate a white paper with a green paper?
Sir, I'm not aware.
This is also used in quite a number of democracies world over.
Sir, I'm not aware. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you have please have a look at it.
Yes, sir, I'll share with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Our next panelist is Mr. Sanjay Kumar, Indian Forest Service Officer.
Hello, Ishita.
Hello, sir.
Ishita, is very heartening to know that you are from such an illustrious background. You have a very senior member of the railway board as your parent, one of your parents. You did a BTech from Manipal Institute of Technology in Electronics and Communication, and then you did also opted for sociology. So I have few questions, given this very interesting background of yours. Should we start with railways?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I have always this intriguing question that Indian Railways, being such a behemoth organization, why it took actually the Konkan Railway, which is not 100% government organization, it's kind of a corporate organization in a different sense, to develop new technologies. For example, Kavach, Raksha Kavach, yeah, anti-collision system, was developed at Konkan Railway. whereas most of the collisions have been happening in the Indian Railways. So, do you think that this is one of the weaknesses of public sector, that it cannot deliver on certain very critical aspects of operational management?
Sir, as you pointed out, that Kavach was developed by Konkan Railway, which is a subsidiary sort of privatized. But I think, sir, before that also, maybe not very popular, but a lot of measures were also developed by the RDSO, which is the Research and
Yes.
Development, yes, wing of
Railways.
the railways. And sir, on the Kavach also, a lot of input did come from the RDSO. They were also a part of it. And so I think, sir, here the answer is always collaboration. We need good minds to work on such projects.
Why these
Be
good
it
minds? Why these good minds are not being promoted, cultivated in the pure public sector system? Okay, and I will give you another example. No, you are from Manipal Institute of Technology. When it came to for collaboration of Cisco with any institution in India, no, they chose to go to your alma mater rather than to, for example, IT Bombay or IT Delhi. Okay, so why it's that? That when it comes to cutting edge research, it's always the private sector which is able to deliver, and why we should not be actually handing over our research and development systems to the private sector completely.
Sir, I think here, as you mentioned, Cisco also. So, and I have conducted a research on this. One of my papers is on this research performance and academic leadership. So I would try to answer from that perspective as what I found there. So as we saw, that research performance is not only based on the kind of institution you're coming from. It doesn't really depend much on whether it's a private or a public or a government funded one. The only difference it makes is the infrastructure that is available to conduct such research. So in private, it is, although not historically, but as we are moving ahead in time and our economy is growing, we see that the infrastructure with technological infrastructure with many private institutions is better, it's more updated, where maybe government funded institutions might lack, and we need to also ramp up those so that there is a parity, and that helps inculcate good minds and bring collaboration forward. So I think that is the reason here.
Okay. I'll not subscribe fully to your views, but still, let's move ahead to something more technical. You are a graduate in electronics and communication. These days, everybody is talking about 5G. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we have been also hearing from quite some time since mobile technologies have developed about CDMA and GSM technologies as two different platforms. So, what do you think? Whether CDMA or GSM would be able to harness the full potential of 5G, which in your view should be the case? And as a telecom administrator of India, for example, what will you prefer? Will you push CDMA technology or GSM technology?
Sir, I am not very sure of answering this.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Anyway, I'll give that answer in the feedback.
Thanks.
Yes, and you are from Gorakhpur.
Yes, sir. My father, I mean, our ancestral home is in Gorakhpur.
Ancestral home. You can never forget your ancestors. Okay, and you have given foreign service as your first choice.
Yes, sir.
And your immediate neighbor is Nepal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and our relationship with Nepal, despite being culturally very close. No, Gorakhpur is basically very much influenced by Nepal's traditions and culture. And we say that no Nepali can live without going to Bodh Gaya, and no Indian can live without going to Pashupatinath. We have that much of relationship. And despite that, we have seen that Nepal-India relations has seen quite tumultuous phases, ups and downs. No, sometimes it has been quite strained also. What, in your view, should be the three key elements which Government of India should pursue so that it becomes an all-weather friendship relationship?
So the three things that we can do to better our relationships with Nepal. I think the first one would be to resolution to our border demarcation, so that is out of the way. For that, it will need a lot of dialogue. So we should be ready to engage that constructively. Second, I think would be the in-migration that we see from Nepal as a very right, like it's as you mentioned that we are very connected, so it is obviously going to happen. But we can try and maintain that so that there is not pressure on Indian resources, so that doesn't cause a migration crisis in the future. The third would be
what do you mean to? No, I'm not very clear what you said. You said that migration should be uninterrupted, so that, or you are saying that migration should be controlled, that there should be no pressure on Indian resources.
Sir, it should be managed so that there is no pressure on Indian resources. So here what I mean is also aiding Nepal to create their own employment, as we see it lags in certain sense. So as we are also as it's our policy, neighborhood first policy, so maintaining their internal helping them maintain their internal peace and security and growth would also ensure that India doesn't suffer from it. So as you mentioned, I'm from Gorakhpur, and that has been an issue that all of known gangsters or known criminals, they flee to Gorakhpur when
that is the allegation which Nepal also puts on Indian police.
Yes, sir. So to manage that, we have to rationalize that what kind of people are going in and going out.
Please.
So Ishita, we'll move to the next panelist. They are from sleepy classes, I'm sorry. Mr.
Ishita, you have very interesting profile, if I say so, right? There's loads of things in it which we can talk about. Which one would you like to talk about?
Sir, I'm open to answering any questions.
Okay, right. It says you'd like to do yoga.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you talk about that? What guru do you follow? What type of exercises do you do? How much time do you give?
Okay. So my yoga journey started with when I started the preparation for UPSC. It was almost coinciding because I needed some sort of physical exercise during this period. So I started, and this was during the lockdown. So I started with, if I am sure you must be aware of Cult Fit. So it's an online gym sort of training program. So in that, they have various courses, and the one that I follow is a mix of Vinyasa yoga and pranayam. And these sessions are usually 35 to 55 minutes long, depending on how much time you have and what is your level of expertise. So I've been following that as a form of meditation and also a form of physical exercise, and because it has certain level of cardio in there.
Okay. What are the various asanas in the Surya Namaskar?
Surya Namaskar. So it's a cycle of 12 with half cycles of, cycle of 24 with half cycles of 12. So the first one, we start with Pranamasana. then Hastuttanasana, then Padmasana. Then we have, sorry, just a second. Sir,
Do you do the
I-
Surya Namaskar?
yes, sir, I do. I am unable to recall the name.
Okay, what are the benefits? Like, let's start with the benefits. What are the benefits of each of the asana?
Okay, sir. So, first is Pranamasana. So, in that we do the centering.
Mhm.
Then we have Hastuttanasana, which is a backward bend.
Mhm.
So that helps us stretch out our back muscles,
Mhm.
the spine. Then we
Mhm.
have Padmasana, which is a forward fold. So that is a complementary to the previous one. So backward bend and then forward fold. Then we have, sir, it's a plank, but I'm forgetting the asana name.
Okay.
So then there's a plank. Then we
Mhm.
have Ashvasanchalanasana, which is on one knee. So it helps you stretch out your front knee, which is the left one in this case. Then we have Parvatasana. So that is that helps in the back calf muscles.
Mhm.
Then we have Ashtang Namaskar.
Mhm.
So in that we try to touch our 8 limbs,
Mhm.
being the chin, chest, and your arms and the knee and
Now,
the
let's move
toe.
ahead. Okay, right. There is something called Raj Yoga. What do you know about that?
Raj, sir,
Hmm.
I'm not.
You never, right? Okay. Did you ever practice Yog Nindra?
Yog,
Nindra. Yog Nindra. Never practice.
no, sir.
No. Okay. Right. Okay. Moving ahead, there is something about circular economy in
Yes,
your
sir.
okay. So can you just briefly define what is this?
So circular economy is making sure that in a process nothing goes to waste. So whatever we have as a reject of one process, we use it as a raw material for the other one. So my paper specifically was on electronic waste.
Okay. Now, assuming you are the municipal corporate, commissioner, right, in your district, what steps would you take to improve this circular economy in your district?
So starting with the segregation of waste at source, still, I mean, I live in Delhi and still we are not asked to do that, or it doesn't really matter because they take everything in one garbage can. So starting with the segregation at source, then moving towards different processes for different things. So as we see, the compostable or decomposable material should be composted as such, and the non-recyclable like plastic can find a second life, as many organizations today are using it to make bags or shoes or different products. So we have to find those connections as in the neighborhood locality. Also, sir, in other material, like we see, we have different processes like incineration or rationalization of the of the waste that we get, the liquid waste, so that we can use them to water plants after purification or after treatment.
Okay, right, Ishita. Shikhar.
Okay.
Mr. Shekhar Dutt from Sleepy Classes.
Thank you, sir. Ishita, you like baking cakes, no?
Yes, sir.
So let's say if you get selected, which cake would you bake?
Okay. Sir, so both my parents are pre-diabetic, so I usually go towards a millet-based cake.
Okay.
So we use the flour like ragi and combine it with some whole wheat so that we get a good texture. So I think I would make a ragi chocolate cake. It tastes really good.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a very, very, very good choice, I would say. And then you've stayed in UP, and have you stayed in UP?
Yes, sir.
Have you stayed in Uttar Pradesh?
Yes, sir.
And you've also stayed in Karnataka.
Yes, sir.
What is one similarity and one difference between the societies of these two states?
Okay. So one similarity that we see is maybe the area that I was in Udupi, that's also a temple town. So one thing that I saw around me was the religiosity, which I think, and the temple going culture, especially. So it is very prevalent in both the societies that I have seen around me. The difference that I can see is in, I think, the transportation, because the the connection of buses that I found in Udupi and the safety that I felt traveling in those was much more than I have felt at Uttar Pradesh.
Right. And we do read a lot of thinkers when we study sociology for UPSC.
Yes.
What is one important thinker that we do not study, or maybe that you would like to study more, which is not mentioned in UPSC syllabus of sociology?
Sir, I think I would like to study more about the Indian thinkers like Leela Dubey, or the the thinkers that are writing more on the Indian society, as we do not specifically study them. Even Andre Betle, that's also, we just have a touch and go. So I
Right.
think I would want to study more of them.
Great. And you did score 2%. You were amongst the top 2 percentile in CAT.
Yes, sir.
To get selected in UPSC, what is the percentile that you require? Let's say, assuming 5 lakh candidates they appear, what is the percentile required to get a rank in UPSC?
Sir, the selection rate I think is around 0.1%.
Okay.
If we start from the prelims, so it would be somewhere around 99.9 percentile, I'm guessing.
99.9 percentile, right? Okay, so yeah, it comes out to be somewhere at 99.8 percentile. So yeah, you need to be in 0.2 percentile. So you need to do 10 times better than you did in CAT.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And one last question. Have you heard of emotional labor? What is emotional labor?
So emotional labor, we understand that the work that people have to put in just in planning and not in execution, or just thinking about it, or just being present for people. So it's not, you're not actually putting in any physical labor or physical work into different things, but you are actually spending some energy towards it, thinking, planning, or communicating. So
Can you give me a very
yes.
common example?
Sir, I think one of the most common examples is of grocery shopping in Indian families, or in any families for that matter. So if you send out someone to get groceries, they will go and get it. But that involves a lot of labor in terms of seeing what you have in the pantry, what you need, what
Oh,
are
I
the
think
meal
no.
preferences.
That's not correct. That's not correct. Oh, nonetheless, like we'll discuss it. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Yes, when is your interview?
So 28th March.
28th March. So you have plenty of time to.
Yes, so this is my first panel interview.
First mock
Yes,
you are taking. Okay.
Yes.
And how do you think you have done?
Sir, I had a few gaps in knowledge. I think I'll have to cover those.
Have you appeared before UPSC earlier?
No, sir. No, sir.
This
This
is your
is my first
first
interview.
interview.
Yes.
Okay, Ishita, you are a very promising candidate, in our opinion. You should do well. Some tips we are giving you for your guidance. First of all, you are a good talker. You speak fluently. Communication skills are okay. So that will not be a handicap. Secondly, your general awareness level is about reasonably good, I would say, but there should be some improvement in that.
Yes.
Thirdly, your answers have to be shorter and more focused. Because if you keep in mind that your total interview will be about 25 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. And there are so many panelists who would like to ask you questions. So if you get involved in giving long answers to one panelist, then others will not be able to ask you anything. There will be no time left. They are very conscious. UPSC have to do 2,800 interviews in a few months' time. So they are very conscious of time. They will not give you more than half an hour or something like that. Right? So be careful, give shorter answers, but be more focused. And if there are many points coming to your mind for a particular answer, give the most important point first.
Okay.
Because you may not get time to give the complete answer. They may interrupt you and, move on to the next question. Now, let me ask you, your railway question you handled very well. No problems with that. You can have your views on IRMS. It doesn't matter whether you agree with me or not, but your views are your views. As far as medical termination of pregnancy is concerned, what you answered will give you only average marks. You have to study little more in details. If you had done a little bit of reading on that, you would have come to know that the main issue in this is whether a woman has complete right over her body, or whether fetus has a right, a surviving fetus or a fully grown fetus has a right to live. That is the issue. So whether woman's body is supreme and she should control it, or whether the fetus also has a right to live. That is the main issue. And there was a very famous case in USA, Roe versus Wade,
Yes.
which triggered the controversy on this issue. So please read about it, right? Okay, now, if my colleagues want to add anything to the feedback, they can do.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Ishita, I have only two observations. You've got a good potential. You should be doing well in your interview. But then, as Chairman had rightly pointed out, please listen to the question. Because many times, when from sleepy classes, the panelists asked you about yoga, you started with this historical background, I started with UPSC. That is not relevant. Whatever is relevant needs to be spoken, to be focused and relevant. Listen to the question. When I asked you a question about $1 trillion US dollar economy of the UP, I was expecting a more focused and a crisp answer. You were giving I said the GDP growth rate of UP is 16.3%. We have investment of $10 lakh million, which is today the Honorable Prime Minister is going in that Lucknow to have a feedback. So in terms of numbers, you got to come out with that. This is how are we going to establish and make a claim. And I asked you twice, how do you make this claim?
Yes.
We have a defense corridor coming in. We have a network of infrastructure projects coming in. So the answer needs to be focused. Similarly, you have one more tendency, you don't, you should take a halt and then answer. You immediately start jumping and giving an answer. When I ask you anything, you get free, you become a product. The example was not perfect that way. Like logging onto the TV now, all clicks you are making on a YouTube, you yourself becoming, and then you are advertising it in a way. I'm not saying that the answer was absolutely wrong that way, but then partially it was not satisfying to me as far as I'm concerned. So, and last thing I want to tell you, Ishita, the interview in the UPSC is not the test of knowledge. It is only to assess that is Ishita Pandey a fit candidate to be a bureaucrat? Do you have those abilities or qualities of an officer? So you will have to come out with those things, and that is what we need to be, that the confidence, the motivation, the leadership skills, all that you need to really portray. So any question, if you do not know, please be bold enough to say, sir, I need to read more about it, or I am not aware. Rather than venturing into it, and you got stuck up in yoga question. You ventured into it, and then you got stuck up. So it's rather, you not take on to that level. Say, sir, I'm not sure about it. I need to read more about it. That's all I have to say. But a great potential, you would do well. you need to mug up, slightly brush up your current affairs and things like that. Thank you.
Ishita, do you have any question from any one of us?
No, sir. I just want to ask this that sometimes you're posed with a longer question which has multiple parts. So how do we go about addressing those questions? Like,
I told you, in all probability, you will not get a chance to answer that question fully. So state the most important point first, and you can be rest assured that the chairman will interrupt. If the answer is too long, chairman will interrupt you at some point or the other and move on to the next question or next panelist. Okay? So keep in mind that you have to state the most important points first.
And Ishita, why are you not smiling? No, why are you keeping so serious? No, you have such a beautiful smile. Okay, and even if we are not physically present, you could at least move your eyes, no, in some manner, so that we all of us feel engaged. No, there will be a panel who will be interacting with you, even though you'll be answering to one person. Okay, but then you have to keep the whole panel engaged. Okay, those non-verbal parts of communication are very important, and keep that in mind.
okay, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, Ishita, all the best to you.
Thank you, sir.